Yeah, Carlin turns on the TV, Christian flips off the screen, cause there's no good children's shows that he's seen. We've got dogs with blogs, superheroes in the ER. All dads are dumb and kids have better PR. Carlin just smile, Christian sits with the scowl. He complains to his son, all the kids shows suck now. They sit and discuss the show's plus and minuses while you listen or watch on YouTube to the arguments. Who is right? Is it the son or the dad? Either way you get to laugh knowing Christian is mad. So pull up a chair, get the corner poppin'. Here's a new episode of What Are We Watching?
Smartphones, tablets, and laptops have helped our kids have more fun and become more productive in school. But do you worry about where they go and what they do on the internet? How do you make sure their web usage is appropriate? After all, 70% of kids stumble upon objectionable stuff online by accident. Well, now you can take control of your kids' internet experience with MobiSip. MobiSip's advanced cloud filter scans web pages, searches, even YouTube, and keeps the bad stuff out. Just complete a simple one-time setup for each of your family's mobile devices, and then you can restrict web usage by time or block websites, categories of websites, or even keywords. You will see your kids' browsing history in your web dashboard or mobile app anytime, anywhere. Fine-tune the policy over time, making it less restrictive as your kids grow older. And it's easy to adjust your filtering instantly, like allowing a blocked website conveniently from your smartphone. Stay in touch with your kids' digital lives. Sign up with MobiSip today.
What are we watching?
Hey guys, well, we are back after a 2 or 3 week hiatus. We took a break because Carlin has a new baby sister that we introduced into the world, and I haven't gotten any sleep in 3 weeks. So we are back with our latest episode of the What Are We Watching podcast. And this episode, we are tackling what show, Carlin?
Little Einsteins.
Yes, we are tackling Little Einsteins. Now, before we get started, how have you been doing this week, Carlin?
I've been doing pretty good.
And what do you think of your little sister, Lexi, so far?
I think she's pretty nice, but she screams when she wants her binky, though.
Yeah, she screams when she wants her binky, and that she doesn't want the binky in her mouth. She pushes it out. So she doesn't really know what she wants, does it?
Nope.
Does she? Yeah, but babies at this age don't really have a personality anyway. You probably don't even remember Oliver at this age, at this point, do you? They just eat and poop. That's pretty much what babies do at this age, eat and poop. And that's if we're lucky, because if she doesn't poop, she screams too. All right, well, anyway, you've gotten a little bit of slice of our life lately. We're going to dive right into this episode. Another horrible, horrible kids' TV show called Little Einsteins. This is Little Einstein Season 1, Episode 17, Jump for Joey. Oh, even the title is bad. It's a play on words, jump for joy. But it's Joey, which is a baby kangaroo. Jump for Joey. And what did you think about this show?
I thought it was cool how they did use real pictures sometimes.
Whoa. You're jumping ahead because you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
All right. First of all, just tell what the episode is about before you jump all over my points, young man.
It's about a Joey kangaroo who almost can't make it to the
Animal Talent Show. Okay. At the Sydney Opera House.
Okay.
So you do know what the Sydney Opera House is, don't you?
No.
All right. Well, it's an opera house or a music theater in Sydney, Australia. Sydney is the capital of Australia. Okay, and they did zero job explaining what that is on a supposedly educational show. Okay?
But still, it was really, really cool.
All right,
and I
we'll
was
get into
smart enough to remember the person who wrote the music.
Okay, who was the person that wrote the music?
George Bizet.
Georges Bizet. Music by Georges Bizet. Okay, so the whole premise of the show is that they're teaching you something, right? You learned the name of the composer, right? Georges Bizet. And it's it's an educational cartoon, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
I mean, that's why it's called Little Einsteins, which I don't know if it's made by the Baby Einstein people or if it's just a ripoff of Baby Einsteins, but let me fill you in. Baby Einsteins is a music CD that they make for babies that they say if you play for babies, it makes them smarter just by listening to this music. Okay? You didn't know that, right? Okay, so I don't know if it's made by the same people or if it's just a ripoff of it, but that's what that is. Now, here's my problem with the show. Starting off, why do all these shows have to talk to you? It's another one of these kids' cartoons, these educational cartoons.
Yes, it's an educational cartoon. It's trying to get you to learn something.
But they always talk to you. They're always wanting you to talk to the screen. Even the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse does this.
I was just about to say Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah, which you like.
Yeah.
Excuse me, which you and your sister both like in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but they always do the talking to you thing. And I guess it's because Sesame Street has done this for so many years. You know, even when I was a kid, they did this. Do you see the star? Where's the star?
It's supposed to be for littler kids or a little bit
there's
younger
the star.
kids.
Yes, I get it, but it's so annoying as a parent when all of these shows talk to you.
Well, do you think it wants parents to watch it?
Yeah, they want parents to watch it too. It's not just a babysitting service, and if it is, the parent's doing the wrong thing. All right, so there's an animal talent show at the Sydney Opera House, one of the most known opera houses in the entire world. And here's the premise, they're having an animal talent show at the Sydney Opera House.
Yes.
That's completely plausible to you. Where are they going to have Ringling Brothers the next week? Are the Harlem Globetrotters showing up the next week too?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. At the Sydney Opera House. Why not? The Aboriginal Globetrotters are going to come by. I guess that would be the Australian version of them, correct?
Yes.
Playing their doo-doo or didgeridoo, whatever that thing is. All right, now before everybody gets on me about why do you hate on these kid shows, I have a rocket for my kids. I have a rocket suitcase. I get it. I get that kids like this stuff. But my job at the What Are We Watching podcast is to point out to you that these shows are not always great, even though they're geared towards kids. Yes, they fly around in their crazy rocket ship. But in the next 20 minutes, I want to let you know that the premise is so flawed that you should expect better things of your child's television shows. That's my point in the What Are We Watching podcast, to let you know that you can do better. We can do better, America. Oh, rocket's flying away. All right, so while they're flying around Rocket, what did they see?
They saw birds.
Yay, birds. And then they said, oh, they must be going to the talent show. There's a crane. He can fly. That must be his talent. And then they saw what? There's an emu. They run fast. That must be their talent. And so, what is it going to be? So what if they just saw one type of bird and it flies and that's its talent? What if they saw a different type of bird? Is it going to have to learn how to dance?
Well, what if some of these kids that are watching it didn't know what emus can do?
Okay, emus. Okay, fine. Emus run fast. That could be their talent. Of course, if a cheetah showed up, granted they don't live in Australia, I guess only one of them could go to the talent show because running fast is kind of
And maybe that's why they didn't show a cheetah.
Well, they didn't show a cheetah because they were in Australia. And
Yeah, they kind of make
Africa.
sense.
Yeah.
They're trying to make sense to you.
You don't think there's any other animal that runs fast in Australia? Okay, let's just go back to the bird. They picked a certain type of bird and go, they can fly. That must be their talent. So what about another bird? What would be its talent? It's going to have to learn to tap dance. Do a soft shoe.
No, but there are some birds that can do this, and some birds that can do that. Some birds have their own talent.
You're sticking with that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You kind of brought it up right at the top about the real life pictures and stuff. What is the deal with this show? Is it animated? Would you classify it as a cartoon? Would you?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the kids are animated in a cartoon style. All of the backgrounds are still pictures. So if they're going to the woods, it's a picture of woods, and they're walking around animated in front of it. Okay, I've seen lots of cartoons do that. Fine. Okay.
What if they couldn't find a good animation?
Well, that's really bad, Carlin. If they can't find somebody that can do good animation, then they should hire a better animator. But I don't think that's the point. I think it's to be educational, and they're trying to appear educational by having real life backgrounds. Okay, here's the problem. They're animated in cartoon style. The background is a still image, okay? Which would have a little better life if it was at least a motion image, if they at least recorded and looped some video. Heck, we're recording video. They could figure it out, how to loop some video of the trees at least blowing in the winds, okay? But then, here's my problem. The kangaroo. Okay, Joey the kangaroo is also animated, but not animated like the kids. He's animated as if to pretend it's a real kangaroo, but it's like a CGI kangaroo.
What if they thought that would be cool to show the people watching it?
Well, I'm sure that is what they thought, is that it was cool. But the whole point is they could have just animated the kangaroo the same way they animated them instead of trying to do it in this weird way. And he looked creepy, by the way, Joey the kangaroo.
Well, if he looked straight at you, then a little bit, yes.
He had dead eyes. They were trying to make a realistic kangaroo, but animate him. Fine, just use video of a kangaroo. All it did was jump up and down anyway. And whenever he spoke, how did the kangaroo talk, by the way?
They sort of used him as a musical voice, like a trumpet.
A trumpet played whenever he talked. So is that what happens in all of these episodes? Are all of the animals or different things in there?
They have different sounds.
Okay, do you think that makes the show smarter or more educational by having a trumpet play when a kangaroo talks?
But kangaroos can't talk, so they're using something else.
Okay, but why not use a kangaroo noise? Okay? If you're gonna pick an instrument for the kangaroo's voice, why not use, like I said, like a didgeridoo or whatever the Australian instrument is that people blow into that goes. Why not use an instrument of that continent? You know, that people recognize for it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, if you're going to pick an instrument, why not pick the appropriate one? If you're going to pick a sound, why not just use a real kangaroo sound? That would sound more educational to me. You see what I mean?
Fine, I'll give you that.
It's like they do all these little things to make it educational, but it's really just a pile of garbage that they put together to make it seem that way. It's not educational whatsoever.
It's not a pile of garbage either.
It is, because it's just a bunch of stuff thrown at the wall. Oh, hey, let's use real life backgrounds. That'll make it seem more real and educational. Hey, let's use trumpets instead. Hey, let's make sure we drop the name of a musical composer, Georges Bizet, and then play his music every once in a while to teach kids that. If they only picked one thing and did it right, it would be good. If they made it a show to teach kids about classical music, awesome. If they make it a show to teach kids about wildlife, awesome.
Honestly, they do have a cool intro, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. What did you learn about Australia?
I learned that it has a Sydney Opera House.
Yeah, but until we talked about it today, you didn't realize what the Sydney Opera House was.
Well, they were in Australia, so it should kind of give me an idea that it's in Australia, the Sydney Opera House.
But you didn't know what the Opera House was.
No, well, I don't have to learn it to necessarily...
Exactly, and that's how I feel watching this show. All right. Now, here's another thing that drives me nuts with the Look at Me educational shows. It's like, we need you to do this so that we can power our ship. Rocket can't fly unless we pat our legs. Now you pat your legs. Come on, Carlin, let's pat. Pat, 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 pat. Faster, faster, faster. Yay, now our rocket ship can fly. It's powered by you banging your legs.
They're not banging, they're just patting.
And it works because we watched this show while we were watching it and taking notes. We watched it with your 2-year-old brother, Ollie. And as soon as it came on, boy, what did he do? He just started patting and yelling, blast off, blast off. So, I mean, it works. It makes a dummy out of your kid.
It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets them active too.
That's active. So now you're saying,
off, you're kind of stretching your arms.
So now you're claiming that Little Einsteins also gets kids to exercise.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Every time.
And this is the problem with America and the fact that I'm fat, that we consider patting our legs and reaching up in the sky as exercise. It's better than just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. I just think that these kid shows are just training. They're training people to be those obnoxious people that you sit in a movie theater with. That you go to see a movie, right? You buy your expensive ticket. You buy your overpriced popcorn. You sneak in your candy. I mean, you buy your candy. We never sneak in our candy, do we, Carlin? Oh, no. No, you would never do that. Yeah, Dollar Tree next door. Okay, so you buy all the expensive stuff for a night out. You go out to dinner. You go to a movie. You sit down and you just want this awesome, quiet movie, right? This awesome experience on the big screen.
Yes.
And then you've got some idiot in the seat next to you going, oh man, are they going to go in there? Seriously, they're going to do that? Oh, don't do that. That wouldn't be a smart thing to do. What are they doing? I missed something. I don't understand. I don't know. What do you think they're doing? I don't know. What's going on with that screen? Who is Hawkeye? I don't know who that. And it's just people that talk at the screen in movies. I blame shows like Little Einstein. You're on point. This is your fault. You are the reason why people talk and are rude in movie theaters.
But how? How?
Because they learn from a little kid that the movies are actually talking to them. And they're real. And they're special. And we got a pat to make... The Avengers ship needs to launch. Pat your arm.
Honestly, I think it's for younger kids. Avengers is a little more advanced for higher kids.
I know, but it's just... I'm just saying it's a skill you're learning.
Yes.
That you don't realize you're learning. And it's talking to the screen. And I blame Little Einsteins for the last movie that got ruined by people. All right, they have a rocket ship. We've established that, right?
Yes, they have a rocket ship.
The goal is to get Joey to the talent show, right, of this episode.
Yes.
What do they do with their rocket ship once you start patting your legs in this episode? What did they do?
They blasted off.
They didn't blast off. They did not, sir. Be honest. What did they do with their rocket ship? Did they zoom off and fly away?
They went towards the sky.
And then they came back down, and they had what underneath of their rocket ship? How can you not remember this? They had a pogo stick thing bouncing beneath their rocket ship.
Well, that's because they wanted to bounce with the Joey kangaroo.
Okay, if the goal of the show is to get Joey to the talent show, open the door, put him in the rocket ship, and blast off and fly him to the talent show. Instead, they dropped a pogo stick under the rocket and bounced the speed of a kangaroo along behind him the whole time going, let's pat and make him jump. Yay! So what was the point in having a rocket ship if they're just going to bounce around? They could just be on pogo sticks.
They're putting more action into it.
They're putting more action into it, but they're also slowing it down. They could just put him there and take him to the...
But younger kids don't realize that.
They should. They get in cars and go to places all the time. Yes, would that mean that the episode is over too early? I get it. But maybe come up with a different kind of, maybe Along the way, we also have to pick up a turtle. Along the way, we also have to pick up a crocodile. Along the way, we also have to pick up a poisonous snake that kills all the kids in the rocket ship. The end. We never have to watch this again.
Well, that's your part at the end.
All right, so what does happen with Joey as they're bouncing along behind it?
He jumps over a LaRue.
Okay, and what is that?
It's the biggest rock in the world.
In Australia, at least. Is it the biggest one in the world, did they say?
I think they did say.
Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. If you wrote that down, fine. Or if you just remember it, okay. Okay, so back to my original argument about this show. Is it educational?
Yes, they just told you about the LaRue.
Okay. Then they say, let's make Joey jump higher by doing what?
By, I can't remember.
Conducting it.
Yes.
They always do that in this show. They like play music because it gets in the educational side with the music. Let's conduct him to go faster. So then they play music, right?
Yes.
And then they get a kangaroo, a baby kangaroo, by the way, a Joey, not an adult, to jump the largest rock in the world. That's what they did, correct?
And do you expect it to be realistic?
Yes, if it's educational, I expect it to be realistic.
How will you think a rocket ship has a pogo under it?
I don't. That's ridiculous.
Opens up. It can turn into a boat.
But it turns into a boat too.
Yes, it can do that. It's not realistic.
It's ridiculous. They take a Joey that they draw as realistic. They put him in front of a realistic background, in front of a real rock that exists on this earth. They're selling you this thing as an educational show, and yet they play a little classical music, and they have a kangaroo jump over the biggest rock in the world.
You just can't listen to this guy. I'm serious.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Either it's a cartoon that's educational, or it's an educational show, or it's just a cartoon. Pick one.
A cartoon show that's educational.
It's not. It's not.
It is.
I've seen educational cartoons. They're usually boring, and they stink, but they're not ridiculous. I've seen just plain educational shows on PBS and on Animal Planet, even though they barely have any shows about animals anymore. They're just regular educational shows. And I've seen just cartoons where anything can happen. If Phineas and Ferb met a kangaroo that could jump the largest rock in the world, I'd say 2 thumbs up. It's Phineas and Ferb. It's ridiculous.
Phineas and Ferb must be for more advanced kids.
Well, no, but the point is you're trying to teach kids realistic stuff. You're drawing the kangaroo realistically. You're using a realistic background. That's why they have
And it's a show to help you have fun with your imagination, too. I'm serious.
My gosh. This show is so all over the place. It's ridiculous.
It is so cool.
Oh, all right.
It is.
Why isn't the koala bear animated? They meet a koala bear. He's not animated.
What if they just wanted to make him look kind of cool? That's not animated. They just...
Well, obviously that's what happened, but why didn't they animate the koala bear?
They didn't really have to.
Then they didn't have to animate the kangaroo. If they were just going to show a kangaroo jumping, they should have put him in front of a green screen, made him jump a couple times, and then they could have just placed him in the show.
Since I can't find anything to say, then I'll give it to you.
Oh, you'll give me that one. Okay, well, I'm just saying, they looked at a koala bear, just used a real koala bear.
Yes.
They made the kangaroo look real, but he's not, and he has dead eyes, and it creeped me out. All right, so now they're flying through to get him to the talent show on top. And then they fly through what?
A cave.
A cave. And does it look anything like a cave inside? Did they even use a still image of a cave?
Not really.
All right, well, they'll describe it for the audience.
It's sort of artistic and has brown and other color swirls.
Okay, see, here's another problem with the show. They're trying to squeeze more stuff in it for the name of educational purposes. But it's supposed to be an Aboriginal piece of art, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but they never explain Who are the Aborigines? Well, they're the original inhabitants of Australia. And then the Europeans came and pushed them out. And then there was conflict. And now they're back together and blah, blah, blah.
But if they explained all of that, it would be too much crammed in like you're talking about.
Well, why did they have trumpets, which is not a natural instrument to Australia, as the voice of the kangaroo? Chuck that out. Now you got the didgeridoo. Instead of animating a kangaroo, they use pictures of a real kangaroo or video of one. Then they don't have to waste time doing that. Now they can explain the Aboriginal art that they just showed.
How do you think they would get pictures to move? It would look really, really weird.
Well, they would just use video. They could easily get video of a kangaroo. They got video of the koala bear. We talked about that. Why not explain what kind of art it is?
How would you get a video of a kangaroo jumping over the LaRue?
What I said earlier. First of all, it couldn't, so scrap that whole part of the show, because if it's educational, there's no point in doing that.
And is it supposed to be realistic?
But even if you wanted to do... You can't have it educational and not be realistic at the same time. It's stupid.
So
it's pointless.
The unrealistic part about it is the ship.
Here's how you could do the kangaroo. You film a kangaroo jumping up and down in front of a green screen. You know how to do green screen stuff. We do it here. We're doing it right now. And so then you put that over the rock and make him jump over just as well as they did the animation. I mean, it would look just as good as that sad animation they did of that kangaroo. I'm just saying, what's the point? You see what I'm saying? Like, why have Aboriginal art if you're not going to explain it to kids and tell them what it is?
Because it would be too much crammed in.
Well, then get rid of some of the garbage and cram that in instead. All right, the rocket ship. You said that's the most non-realistic thing in the show.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm fine with using the device of a rocket ship and the kids and blah, blah, blah. But you're yawning in the podcast. You're tired, and you're tired of my arguments. Okay,
yes.
Here's my... I will sum up the show like this. Just because you use classical music in your show does not make it educational. Okay? It does not make it smart. You're actually assuming people are idiots by cramming it in and like trying to convince them that this is a smart show. By just going, hey, here's a smart thing. Here's another smart thing. Here's another smart thing. This is a smart show. You've learned something. You're actually calling your audience an idiot.
It doesn't say that, though, because it makes us sound like an idiot who's talking.
It's assuming your audience is an idiot because you're not actually teaching them about something. You're just expecting them to be so dumb that they go, wow, classical music. Yeah, that's smart.
Well, pay attention to the ages you said, like the sweet spot.
Okay, the sweet spot. Let's say 4 to 6. You're saying that a kid couldn't learn anything from that show from 4 to 6? Like they couldn't talk about, hey, here's a show about, here's 10 minutes talking about the artwork that they make. Here's how they made the artwork with sand and rocks, and they put it all together, and that's Aboriginal art. Here's how a kangaroo works. Here's how a kangaroo was born, blah, blah, blah.
But it wasn't supposed to be about that.
Google how kangaroos are in the little pocket of their mom. It's gross, by the way, and koalas are worse. But it is about that. That's the thing. Like, they try to make it about too many things.
They just include a little bit of that stuff.
I'm just saying it could be an educational show for kids if they concentrated on even 3 things, but they put so much stuff in it and squeeze in the music and squeeze in the artwork and squeeze in that then it becomes nothing.
It looked like a calm show. It doesn't look like they're squeezing so much in. Oh, this does this and that does that. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, well, let me just finish with this. Joey does get to the talent show eventually.
Yes.
Along with the other animals. And then his talent is to do what?
Jumping, and he jumped really, really high.
How did he jump really high?
Don't even get me on the realistic stuff.
How did he jump really high?
He jumped very, very high. He jumped out of the Sydney Opera House.
First of all, he jumped higher because the Einstein kids were getting the audience to conduct and tap their legs or whatever they were doing to get the kids. Okay, right?
Yes.
So technically, he cheated at the talent show.
Did not.
He did.
did not.
He cheated because they helped him jump higher. Let's get Joey to jump higher. We'll conduct him. So he cheated. And then he jumped out of the roof of the Sydney Opera House, probably the tallest building in that city. And did you see the shape of the Sydney Opera House? It has points on it. I would surmise that when he came back down from his jump, he fell to his doom and exploded on the Sydney Opera House.
No.
And that would be the most
no,
realistic and happy
no.
ending of Little Einsteins.
But they didn't do that because do you want ages 4 to 6 seeing blood splat all over the floor in the stage and people screaming and yelling?
At the end of the show, yes, I would have liked that.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for watching this episode of the What Are We Watching podcast. Please leave your comments below. If you think Carlin was right about everything. Please leave a comment below. If you think I was right about everything, and you know I was, leave it in the comments below. If you tweet a link to the What Are We Watching podcast, leave a comment here or on Facebook at whatarewewatching.com, on YouTube, any of the places you find us, or the audio-only version on Libsyn. Leave a comment, and we will actually say your name and read your comment on the next mini episode that comes out next week of the What Are We Watching podcast. We will also tell you what show we're watching next time, so you can watch the episode before we watch it, and then you can join along with Carlin in his happiness and me in my sheer misery. Thank you again for watching the What Are We Watching podcast or listening. And do you have anything else to add, Carlin?
I have one more thing to add. He's wrong. He's wrong.
Hey, I pay for all your food. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching our video. Please click subscribe. That way you don't miss any of our videos or our future prize giveaways. And we have a big number to brag about to our advertisers. And also click here to see a previous episode. I'm just going to take a second and watch it. I'm funny. Hey, click here if you want to close this video and make me die a horrible death. This production is brought to you by the Plaid Dad Blog Podcast Network. For more information, visit plaiddadblog.com.